know what happened with when we had we're talking about like 1870 time frame when Mendeleev came out with this periodic table thing, right? Before Mendeleev had a periodic table, people used to think that water is an element, and there's no way to actually prove it. It's wrong because there was no way to even differentiate that the water, which is a label or name which is spelled differently, and pronunciations are different in the language of your choice. But what Mendeleev did was brought an empirical, structural content description for the word water. So now what happens is, doesn't matter which part of the world you are and which language you use for calling it, its structure remains the same. Now this is huge. This is monumental. This is like earth shattering. Everybody can call water the way they want in the language of their choice. But as soon as it comes to the structure of the water, it's only one way. And it's not even hydrogen and oxygen. It has to be two of hydrogen with one of oxygen. Now, this could be only elaborated and understood post Mendeleev's periodic table. So what happened was, in absence of this, water did exist even before periodic table. And that's my point is, enterprises exist even before understanding of the enterprise anatomy or enterprise architecture, just like water always existed. Now what happens is, when people didn't know about periodic table and its composition of water, so what used to happen was somebody would look at the water and then by chance they saw that water fell on something, and they call that as best practice, that water can be used for putting out the fire. And everybody who came across this, they could use this as a solution to a problem called fire and put out the fire. And the whole world is using it in a span of few hundred centuries, right? And then one day when so everything looks fine as long as the fire was not on an oil surface, right? Now, as soon as the fire is on the oil surface, the water was not able to put out the fire anymore. And this exactly, I guess, is the problem with most of the people who are practicing some of these ideas in the name of digital transformation. The enterprises are changing, right? So if you're going to apply the same best practices because of the ignorance of the existence of the formal structure, and if we keep moving it forward, we are having exactly the same problem. And what's that problem? Our inability to create new opportunities from existing assets, our inability to handle the change, our limitations in exercising and reusing the various enterprise elements in addressing new opportunities. Now, let me make you a little more understand on this concept. Now, imagine if I ask you, if one person is very good in, let's say he or she is very good in playing badminton, right? And she decides that we want to play now table tennis. My question is, which organ has to be corrected of that person, or which of the organ in the anatomy of that person needs correction in order to make them play now table tennis instead of badminton? And guess what you're going to find is that we really don't have to change any structural components of the anatomy, human anatomy. We just have to reskill. You get what I'm saying is, and this is exactly what we need to do, at least this time, when we are looking at enterprise or digital enterprise, right? How do we create the digital enterprise elements? How do we get these digital elements in place so that not only I address the digital complexities and digital changes in terms of services and the things that I'm going to do in the next 5 or 10 years, but even 10 years down the line, if the new opportunities, new economy, new dimensions comes up, I am ready. I'm faster than everybody else. This is exactly the same logic what the periodic table provides us, right? you have these elements, right? And from the same set of elements, somebody can create a dot, somebody can create a aspirin, or somebody can create some other medicine to handle the level of headache, right? And if we could create, imagine a digital enterprise elements, we will be in a better position to combine them and make a more predictable and receive and reach the targets and the benefits. Unlike when we combine the compounds, digital compounds, the chances that we would get expected results are very less. It's pretty much something similar what happened in the case of compounds, in the chemical compounds, right, and the chemical elements. In absence of understanding of the elements before predictable was discovered, the chemical scientists, the chemical engineers, they would combine compounds expecting them to give them the right results, and that would never happen.